Hi guys, welcome back. So England finally make a start, preparing for the World Cup and naming their first training squad of 28 players, but it's not including, of course, all the semi-finals from the Premiership playoffs. So Leicester Northampton, Sale and Saracens, all their players aren't available anyway. So it's kind of like a half squad, if you like, and essentially it's like a bit of a trial for a lot of players. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Go through some of these players and say which ones are really on trial, because there are quite a lot, and what sort of competition do they have from those four clubs that aren't yet available for selection. Now, eventually it's going to go down to a 33-man official World Cup squad, but that's not going to be after a long time of training, plus a trial match, if you like, against Wales before they actually name their final 33-man squad. So there's a long way to go in this England selection. So to help with this video, I've put a list up on the side of players from those four clubs that aren't available who may well make the World Cup. The brighter the name, the more likely I think they are of making the World Cup squad. So definite possibles, on trial, however you want to classify it. You can see there some of the players I think will definitely make it, and those that might make it, and those with an outside chance. So do bear that in mind, and I'll refer back to that as I go through this squad. Okay, so this is the training squad, and I'm going to put up a little asterisk for those players that I think are very much on trial, who we may see start dropping out as those players from the other clubs become available. Okay, so let's get into it. The loose head props are Joe Marler, Ellis Genge, Beno Abana and Varapava Ruskin. And with Abano and Rapava Ruskin, these are two players that I really wanted included in this training squad who weren't included in the Six Nations for certain reasons. And when we've picked our own World Cup squads, these two players have been featuring in it. And I think pretty much everyone who I've wanted in the World Cup squad is at least in this initial squad. Who's going to drop out is the question. Of the loose head props, Ellis Genge is the only nailed on one for me. Of those unavailable, we've got Mako Vunipola and Bevan Rodd, who both have a good chance. Mako Vunipola, I wouldn't say he's nailed on, but he's got a great chance. But I think Marler, Abano and Varapava Ruskin are very much on trial. Joe Marler, tried and tested, still offers a lot of strength. Exit in the set piece, he's definitely not as quick as he was around the park. I mean, he never was electric, but he's definitely dropped off, but he's got the experience. So it's definitely a bun fight, I think, for the loose head prop. There are spots available. I would like to see Genge, Abano, Rapava Ruskin, so I really hope Abano and Rapava Ruskin have a storming camp. Onto the hookers. Now, Jamie Blamire is in, a hooker that Eddie Jones certainly had a good look at. He's got the athletic ability. Can he match that with his set-piece game? If so, no, he's got a world of ability, as has Jack Walker. Two similar players in some ways, amazing around the park. Need to show they can do it in the set-piece. Tom Dunn is very reliable. The competition they've got, of course, is Jamie George, who I think is a definite. Cowan Dickey, if he gets fit, is a definite. He's with the squad, but training separately because he's injured. And Theo Dan's also in there with a chance. But I think these hookers are all going for one spot, really. So Blamire, Dunn and Jack Walker, yeah, they're definitely on trial for me. Okay, on to the tight head props. We've got Kyle Sinclair and Will Stewart. Two players who I think England really need fit and firing. I think they're definites if they're fit. So for them, it's just about getting into the groove, getting fit. You've got Dan Cole, Joe Hayes, maybe Trevor Davison, kind of going for maybe one spot, if you like. So I think tight head prop are the props we're going to see going forward. Now, the second row is a bit of a strange one. We've got Charlie Ewels, who hasn't really played this year at all. Now, Eddie Jones thought a lot of him. Maybe Borthwick does too. Is he in there maybe just to make the training work so they can pop him and maybe Ted Hill in the second row so they can actually do some rugby-related practices? I don't know, but I don't really see that one apart from they need some second rows in the squad. But let me know if you think that's right to get him in. Obviously, you've got Chesham if he gets fit, he's recovering with the squad at the moment. Then Atoje is a definite, but Ezekwe, Johnny Hill, Dave Ribbons and maybe George Martin are shots for the second row as well. So I think it's a long shot for Ewels to stay in there. Okay, on to the high competition area of the back row. We've got Alex Dombrandt, who I think he's a definite to go to the World Cup, actually. I think Borthwick rates him, put a lot of time into him. But then I think we've got four guys there who are definitely on trial. But all four guys we've talked about before who we'd love to see in and around the squad. Ted Hill's a guy who hasn't had a chance yet. Out and out six, I'd say, but he can slot into second row, maybe into number 8 if needed. He's a really good player. Mercer coming from France, straight into the squad. He's going to have to go some, of course, but we think we need a bit of stardust at number 8, and he could be the man, but he's got maybe a week to prove it. Tom Pearson's a guy we were desperate to get in for the Six Nations because he's just been on fire. He looks like he has it all. Now's his chance. He's going to have to impress. And Underhill, on and off with injury again. Many comments saying, you guys want Underhill in. He's got the experience. He knows he can do it. He's still young. If he can get fit, he's a great shout as well. But I think all 4 of those guys are on trial. Now, the obvious name that's missing from this squad as well is Jack Willis, but he's still involved with Toulouse, so he hopefully will join up later. Of the guys unavailable based in England, Tom Curry and Courtney Laws, I think, are definites. Ben Earl and Lewis Ludlam have great chances, and Billy Vanapola is actually rehabbing with the squad as we speak, so there's loads and loads of competition there. But I'd love to see certainly Mercer and Tom Pearson have a storming week this week and stay in the squad. Scrum halves. Well, we see the headline, if you like, Danny Kerr is back in. Now, is he only half back in, if you like, because there's so many scrum halves left to come back. Alex Mitchell, Van Portfleet, I think are almost certain to come into the whole World Cup squad. So they might only be fighting out for one place along with Ben Youngs, Rafi Quirk, maybe Gus Waugh. So Danny Kerr, Harry Randall and Ben Spencer, who are guys I really wanted to see in the mix, have a massive job on their hands. Ben Spencer's a guy I've been really impressed with. Danny Kerr, well, his form stayed very consistent. He is getting older now. Hopefully he won't get mucked around too much because he has been called into squads before under Eddie Jones and then discarded. But anyway, 3 scrum halves in, which is interesting because there's so many more to come back in. That's another bun fight. Now, fly half wise, there's only one available. That's Marcus Smith, so he's going to get plenty of reps for sure. But Farrell's the definite, and then there's a big fight with Ford and Marcus Smith, I think. Finn Smith may be an outside shout, but Marcus Smith has the first chance to impress. I do hope he goes as well, actually. I think Farrell, Ford and Smith probably all deserve to go. But yeah, Marcus Smith getting the chance to shine alongside Danny Kerr, so maybe they can work well together in training. Centres, not too many surprises apart from Will Joseph, who I think is the guy on trial there. Now, we haven't seen him a lot this season at all. He did feature in squads under Eddie Jones, so we know he's a talent, but Ollie Lawrence, I think, is a definite for the World Cup squad. Marchant and Slade, well, maybe you could say Slade's a definite, but I'm not so sure. We'll see, but not on trial. They're a known quantity. Manu Tuolangi's not available. I think he's a definite. And then Dan Kelly's the other guy I think is in with a mix there. Finally, into the back 3. Names we were expecting. Henry Arundel, Ollie Hassel-Collins, who featured in the Six Nations squad. I think they've got a great chance of making the World Cup squad, but not a definite. Big Joe Thoknasiga, many in the comments said, you want him in the squad. He's the biggest. He's the most powerful. He's had a good run of fitness. He can be very useful if used in the right way. Sure, he's not the most agile on the turn. He's not the most skillful, but he is blooming big, so could be useful. We see the return of Johnny May, still performing well. I wouldn't say performing at a top level, but, still churning out decent performances, so not overly sure if it's worth carrying him on. Caden Murley, I'd say, is still on trial because, yes, he was in the Six Nations squad, but he didn't play, so Thoknasiga, May and Caden Murley, the guys on trial there. There's quite a few spaces available in the back 3. I think only Freddie Stewart and Anthony Watson from the guys who aren't available are the 2 are definites, but Freeman, Daly, Malins, they've got a good chance. Carpenter and Roebuck, outside shouts from Sale. So lots to prove in the back 3 and lots to prove all over the place. So let me know which of these players you think should definitely carry on into the full World Cup squad, who are a little bit lucky to get there. All the comments below as always, and I'll catch you next time.